Welcome to Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. Two of the last three Super Bowl champions about to collide. Pittsburgh on top of the AFC North. Meanwhile, over in the South with Tennessee winning again today, it's all about wild card positioning for Indianapolis. And hello, friends. Jim Nantz and Phil Simms. Big question here before kickoff. The Steelers at quarterback. Will it be Roethlisberger or Leftwich?
It will be Ben Roethlisberger. We saw him practice on Friday. He took all the reps out here today with the first team, so he's healthy enough to go.
That shoulder, which was injured in week 1 against the Houston Texans, he says it just seems to get a little worse every week. It's re-injured, re-aggravated. This game is brought to you in high definition here on CBS. So Roethlisberger held out of practice on Wednesday and Thursday, full reps on Friday, but it was a game time decision. He's going to go. And he's stopped by the first contact. And that's Antoine Hagler of the Colts. And there is a flag on the field. John Perry, the referee here in Pittsburgh.
On the tackle, personal foul, face mask, number 42 of the kicking team. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
That's called against Nick Graham. So with the 15-yard step off from the 38, the first snap of the game, the quick hit. That's over to Hines Ward, and it goes for about 3. Here's Roethlisberger with the throw. That's Holmes trying to reach for that first down. Kewan Ratliff on the coverage. About a yard shy of the first.
Well, so much said about Ben Roethlisberger. Would he be ready to play today? His first throw, short to the outside. That's what most people throw against this Indianapolis defense. Good rhythm. We watched him in practice on Friday, Jim, and warming up today. Never saw him go all out. Just threw with nice rhythm, never threw it too hard, and that first pass illustrated what we saw Friday and today.
Short passes on the first 2 downs, and it's 3rd and 1 from the 48. Now they'll run it. Moving the pile, taking it across for the first down.
Give our offense, which is still really good, a chance to get more possessions and score some points.
They just can't get off the field this year. And after the first down carry, it's Moore getting the handle again and banging around for about 4 yards. Yes, this defense, Tony Dungy talking about 3rd down being the key because, again, they've given up more 5-minute drives and more 10-play drives than any team in the league.
Number 21, Bob Sanders. He's one of the reasons, or a big reason, how they stopped the running game. Look where he comes from, deep. He knows how to time it. That's important always for a defensive player. It's spacing the defense, timing when you want to hit the line of scrimmage. He does that very well.
2nd down and 6. Steelers already advancing it to the Indianapolis side to begin the game. They just put wide receiver screen, and they go back to Moore. He's 2 yards short of the first, goes for 4.
Well, Jim, something that the Indianapolis Colts, they're not afraid to change up their defense. 1, 2, 3, 4 defensive linemen. And why do you do that? You bring 4 of them in, you keep them there and just space it out and try to stop the running game of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Here's another 3rd down and short, 3rd and 2. And Dungy emphasizing all week long, guys, we got to start making plays on this down. Crippled him this season. Roethlisberger throws, and Holmes is open. He has it at the 20 and slices down to the 19. Antoine Buffet tripped him up by the ankles, but it goes for 23, and the Steelers are in the red zone.
Yeah, you know, Jim, we said it trying to get off the field. What a nice move by Holmes to the outside. That gets Jennings turned around, and anytime you're worried about stopping the other team's running game, especially in 3rd and short where you think they're going to run, you put a lot of pressure on your corners, and the Steelers take the chance and throw it up the field.
Steelers very successful this season on opening drive possessions. They call it the gold zone inside the 20, and that's where they're residing now on first down. End around, it's Holmes. Buffet comes up, and Buffet makes the hit at the 20. The loss of a yard.
Hard team to run reverse on this Indianapolis defense. they have a lot of people looking at the football. That's why they don't give up a lot of extra yards after the catch when people throw it. But look at the defenders, 4 of them in perfect position to stop the run for no gain.
The secondary for the Colts without Kelvin Hayden today, injured. He's inactive, so they start Keywan Ratliff, Sanders, Buffet, and Jennings in that secondary. Second down and 11. Roethlisberger throws inside the 5, and again he connects. This time it's Nate Washington as Roethlisberger coming out and showing no effects of a sore shoulder. This goes for 17, first and goal to go.
Well, what it's done, it's just made him relaxed, I think, Jim. So he's throwing the ball beautifully. The timing, the pace of the throw was perfect. The first time they throw it down the field, it's inside Tim Jennings. This time the release is different by the wide receiver outside, and a throw it behind the receiver, back shoulder throw by Ben Roethlisberger. It was perfect.
So out of the eye, they go with Moore, the tailback. Shifting onto a wing, they give it to Weldy Moore. And he's down to the 1. That's Jennings coming up for the hit. An impressive start here for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Roethlisberger telling us that we haven't even played anywhere close to our potential on offense.
Yeah.
So he says there's promise and hope.
Well, I think that's what really does. Wow, if we could just play a little better. I want to say to him, Ben, it's not like you're playing the worst defenses in the NFL at some of these games, and weather's been a little bit of a factor, but they know the potential of the offense is there. If they can just match what their defense is doing, they know they're going to win a lot more games.
Max Starks on the right side, eligible as a receiver. Second down and goal. It's Moore again, and he dives in for the touchdown. Weldy Moore, what a offseason acquisition. The former Viking who Mike Tomlin was familiar with from his days at Minnesota when he was the defensive coordinator there.
Well, good job up front. Weldy Moore knows the situation. Run hard, get in there, and this is not a good start for Indianapolis. I think they believed they had a good chance to stop this Pittsburgh Steelers offense today. The pass beat them on that drive, not the run.
A drive that began with a face mask penalty on the opening kickoff, and they kept it for almost 6 minutes. Again, the Colts have given up more 5-minute plus drives than any team in the league. High snap, but the kick goes through. And that's Jeff Reed taking it 7-0 after a 10-play drive and a touchdown by Weldy Moore. 10 plays. 5 minutes and 53 seconds, and been a perfect 4 for 4. Moore taken at the final yard as the Steelers do what's been really everyone's been doing against the Colts this season, particularly on these road games. That defense is unable to stop anybody, and the visitors are quickly down 7. Garcon, the returner, steps out at the 23. Peyton Manning, last week a winner at home when he threw 2 touchdowns against the Patriots, coming out for his first action today. And the Colts offense breaks huddle. Taking the field for the first time, down 7-0. Talked about Peyton. And the Colts victorious over the Patriots last week. He was 9 of 10 in that game last week against New England in the first quarter. He's coming out with the gun. Launching it down the field, and a diving attempt incomplete. That was intended for Reggie Wayne. Second down and 10. And here's a look at a dive. Running to the short side. Good piece of running as the blocking was excellent on that side.
Yes, we do. Troy Polamalu on one side, Bob Sanders. Kind of the new age way to do it. Give him a lot of...
Third the foot, and diving straight ahead for the first. It's a dive. And that puts the Vikings at 5-4. You're right, JB. Chicago falling to Tennessee as the Titans remain undefeated. On first down, Manning going long, looking for Wayne, and on the tip he has it. Spins away. What a move by Wayne. He's taking it in for the touchdown. 65 yards. Mike Taylor tipped it. Wayne grabbed it. Then he spun away from Ryan Clark. And they're an extra point away from tying it at 7.
Can we get some big plays? Ike Taylor is not fooled by the move of Reggie Wayne. Mistimes his jump just a little bit and tips it right to Reggie Wayne. But Peyton Manning said we need big plays. We're going to throw it to win. Little luck on their side. That's a good way to start, of course, for the Indianapolis Colts.
Terry. And the game is tied at 7. So Reggie Wayne, who had a pet snake his 4 years at Miami named Law, he slithers his way here across and away from Clark. Takes it in for the touchdown. Took only a minute and 26 seconds for Indianapolis to match the Steelers' opening drive touchdown. 4 plays. And Manning, Wayne, first time Reggie Wayne's had a deep ball, rides along the wedge and is pushed out by Graham.
Russell
was
on the
flagged for a
return.
face mask on the opening kickoff. How about Roethlisberger on that first drive?
Well, so much said about Ben Roethlisberger this week, and we saw him practice on Friday, and he went through it about half speed, and he's playing that same way in this game, just relaxed, throwing the football with rhythm. How about that reaction? He goes, don't hit me too hard.
Yeah, that was Kiesel coming out at the extra point, and you're not going to do a big shoulder bump with the way things are going.
Yeah, the big thing is he knew this game, if he could get in it, you can avoid hits playing this Indianapolis defense because you can get rid of the football, they give you short passes, and you hit a very high percentage of them too.
Inside again, it's Moore plowing ahead for 2.
I would keep the safeties back. Bob Sanders, Antoine Buffet, keep them back and show me that your offensive line can beat us well enough up front and run to win.
Second down and 8. Freeney coming in. Roethlisberger got it away. That was intended for Matt Spaeth. Miller, their tight end, was a good one, is also out today, inactive with an injury.
Jim, here's the defense I'm talking about. When the safeties stay back, they have to do it that play. Now it helps these corners, so that makes it easy. Now, of course, that's one less guy to stop the running game. It does hurt that, but some of the pass plays and the high percentage of completions you see against this Colts defense is because there's Ron Meeks. They have to put so many guys up near the line of scrimmage to stop the run. Puts too much pressure on corners who were drafted to play with help over the top.
Steelers converted 2 third downs on their first possession. Here comes the heat. Roethlisberger, no chance. Ball comes out. Ball is out. It was Freeney who knocked it out of his hand. Buffet in there also. Got a Colt defender a little slow to get up. That's Antoine Buffet.
How about that? A blitz on 3rd and long. That is a little bit
Steelers recovered.
different for the Indianapolis Colts. And the Steelers, Antoine Buffet waits, times it perfectly. Ben Roethlisberger not ready for it, not able to get rid of the football. Wow, what a good job of recovering the fumble.
Freeney was trying to sweep it in with one hand. His left hand was tangled up. No chance, but it'll be punting time for Paul Ernster.
Catch the other team off guard. That's what the Colts did that time.
Jared Rutkowski is the long snapper. And that's Ernster sending it down to the 32 to Ratliff. There is a flag as they spin him down at the 35. 43-yard punt.
That was an interesting series. Colts did a couple things and changed up on the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know what I say, Jim? Good. What you've been doing is not working well enough.
During the return, holding, number 42, return team, 10-yard penalty, 1st and 10, Indianapolis.
This is a second penalty already on Nick Graham. Special teams will back up the Colts. We'll be right back. And for the second time now, Manning and the Colts are on the field. 4 plays. That's all it took last time to find the end zone. The deep ball, Manning to Wayne for the touchdown. To die, having to go wide as Aaron Smith was chasing him, and they lose yardage. Little player tracker here on that touchdown.
Yeah, let's watch Ryan Clark, the safety. The Steelers move around so much and try to hide and disguise their defense. He runs to the middle, fast over to help Ike Taylor. It allows Reggie Wayne to catch the deflection and go for the touchdown.
Lost a yard on first down with a dive. There's Wayne wide to the left. Ike Taylor defending. Anthony Gonzalez also in. 2nd and 11. It's intended for Dallas Clark. Defended by Lawrence Timmons.
So many times you watch Dallas Clark go down the field and just wear out linebackers. He's too good, too mobile for them to cover. But this Steeler group of linebackers, it's different.
But without today, Lamar Woodley. He's out with an injury.
That's right.
9.5 sacks on the season. There's James Harrison, who has 10 sacks.
So they replaced Lamar Woodley with, last year's first-round draft pick. Lawrence Timmons is pretty good, too.
It's really been 5 linebackers all year for 4 spots, so they don't have that extra pad, if you will, at that position today. 3rd and 11, Manning. Open is Clark. He snatches it and steps across for the first. Goes for 14.
Good job by Peyton Manning. He saw the defense right away. They don't disguise if it's man or zone. Look at the defenders all dropping back, and he sees them dropping back. He goes, I know I got Dallas Clark short. And a good job by Dallas Clark catching the football, turning up the field, and getting that first down.
First down at the 38. Double tight information. We're going to run it middle. And again, it's Aaron Smith. He has snuffed out the last 2 running plays.
How about what Peyton Manning said to us last night? And I kind of chuckled. I don't think he thought it was very funny. But he goes, well, the Steeler defense, it's 2nd against the run. It's 3rd against the pass. And I put the film on, and, it was true. They really are as good as the stats say it. And I kind of chuckled, and I go, I didn't mean it wasn't funny, but sometimes you're hoping you turn the film on and you go, well, they're overrated. They're lucky. It's weather. Not with the Steeler defense. It's played well all year long.
2nd down and 11. Wayne. That's Townsend holding on just short of the first. Did you think Peyton was going to laugh about that? After all week long, he's been looking at those tapes. You think he thought that was amusing?
That's a good point. That's all you get.
That wicked sense of humor. He just hasn't got it, has he?
That's right. He just hadn't caught it. That was a good job. The other thing, too, is you saw Reggie Wayne catch the football, go forward, try to get those extra couple yards to keep your team in these kind of makeable 3rd down situations.
It's a long yard to go. 3 receivers set. That's a die, and it's a good effort to get the first. They're 3 for 3 now on 3rd down. Interesting little matchup with the coordinators here. The offensive coordinator of the Colts, Tom Moore, against Dick LeBeau, defensive coordinator of the Steelers. 2 of the best you'll ever find. There's Tom Moore. He celebrated his 70th birthday on Friday.
Yeah, I said, well, are you slowing down? And he said, absolutely not. Went to bed at 6 o'clock on Friday to celebrate that birthday.
I knew it was a loaded question, Coach, because we know his habits. To stay up late and celebrate, I was in bed by 6 o'clock. That's a recovery night for them.
That's right.
All week long, look at the tape. Here's Manning getting pressure and getting sacked by Aaron Smith. His 4th sack of the year, and this is the top sack team in the NFL.
Yeah, you talked about it. Peyton Manning, very hard to sack for a lot of reasons. But what has changed this Pittsburgh football team is they now can cover receivers very well. Look down the field. Nobody is open. 2 defenders sometimes where 1 receiver is. And the initial pass protection, very good. But nowhere to throw the football.
First time Peyton has been sacked in his last 119 pass plays. A dive sent wide to the right. 2nd and 21, and they try to get it in his hands quickly. That's incomplete. Andre Frazier over there defending. 3rd and 21 on the way. Now this is a Pittsburgh defense that had 36 sacks all of last year. Now with that last one by Aaron Smith, they're up to 33, and we're in game 9.
Yeah, I asked Mike Tomlin, I said, you look at Dick LeBeau, defensive coordinator, I said, your defensive backs, they're covering so much better this year. He goes, wouldn't it look bad since my specialty is coaching defensive backs, being the head coach, that we didn't improve our pass coverage? It's a good point.
And jumping across and pointing fingers, Brett Kiesel.
False start. Number 78. Right. Offense.
Just a little penalty. 3rd and 26 on the way. You saw Dick LeBeau for a moment there. He's 71 years old. Former star defensive back in his time. Here is that defense. Number 1 overall. Most sacks. Fewest touchdowns allowed. 8 picks. Speaking of Dick LeBeau, he had 62 career picks in his decorated career with Detroit back in his day. Can they pick it up? They're going to Wayne. It's over his head. Well covered by Taylor. Coming over to help out with Tyrone Carter. So we'll see Hunter Smith for the first time.
Yeah, it's good coverage. They got extra defensive backs deep. And I'll tell you what, what's amazing, you know, Peyton Manning doesn't go for that little short completion and then punt. He's trying to pick it up because, you know, that's a good way to do it. You're in a position on the field where you know when you punt it, you're still going to have the opposing offense in pretty tough conditions. So why not take a shot?
Antonio Holmes waiting for the kick from Hunter Smith. Backpedaling and fielding it at the 14. He'll step out at the 22. 33 sacks on the year by Pittsburgh. Best in the league and showing it already. You saw Hines Ward on the sideline after a 52-yard punt by Hunter Smith, 8-yard run back. Steelers begin this drive from the 23. Moore. And the Colts dropping for a loss. It's Dawson. First to get there. Loss of 2.
Yeah, you got to like so far. The Steelers come in with a running formation. So the Colts go, okay, you got 1 wide receiver. They just put everybody up there. No way that Steeler offense was going to block all the defenders that time.
Second down and 12. Hines Ward returns in a slot to the left. And they work it into Ward. So a 3rd down situation on the way. That's Yahoo on the hit.
Good illustration as you watch this Colts defense. Talked about it so many times, but it is make them throw it short, attack the football. That time about 5 different players hit the receiver once he caught it. It's not only the people, the secondary, you got to be alert for defensive linemen who turn and chase the ball very well.
Call it 3rd and 7. Got to get out to the 33 for the first. Zipping it right across the middle. Hines Ward. Giordano decks him, but not until it gains 22.
Wow, Hines Ward against Antoine Buffet. He is a safety. Hines Ward in the slot, just that little bit move. And you know, that's a really good call by the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's 3rd and 7. The defender, Antoine Buffet, was expecting something in that 6 to 7, 8-yard range. When Hines Ward made that little move, that's why he had tremendous separation and he was wide open.
Roethlisberger already 6 of 7. Started this game. First down carry by Moore.
His practice is overrated. That's what he's saying.
Give him a yard. Yeah, he completely missed or set out practice on Wednesday and Thursday. Took all the reps on Friday. And he told us after that practice on Friday about how this shoulder, which is so tender, hurt initially in week 1 against Houston. He says, I've heard it about every single game this year. Week 1 on, it just gets re-aggravated every week.
Well, his style of playing, when he tries to make plays moving around the pocket, you're going to take some hits. So that's one reason why it hasn't gotten well yet.
Second down and 9. Diving attempt incomplete for Santonio Holmes. Quarter comes to an end. Tied at 7. Back after these messages, and you're watching the NFL on CBS. Colts and Steelers with the second quarter beginning. There's your quarterback comparison. Manning with the long connection to Reggie Wayne for a touchdown. Roethlisberger very precise so far and facing a 3rd and 9. Jim Nantz and Phil Simms here at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. Freeney coming in. Roethlisberger stepped away from the hit. Look at Moore. And he does quite a job of picking up that first down. Looked like he should have been stopped about 2 yards short of it.
Defense is built to stop that play. Throw it short. Lee will tackle, and Noelvi Moore, what a job. Dwight Freeney, first thing you got to do is block him. Well, I'll tell you, Max Starks, he barely touches him. Roethlisberger moves in the pocket, and then Noelvi Moore. Jim, as we're getting ready for this game, the one thing I noticed, we talk about his running game, what he's done, but an excellent receiver, very good blocker in the pass protection schemes, too, so he does it all.
He described his running style as I run to win, a winning style. Here he is, pitching it back, pitched it high to Roethlisberger, unable to unload it, and it's caught at the 10. It's Hines Ward slashing at the 5 and spinning down to the 1.
Well, that was a really, really good job by Noelvi Moore. Nice fake. Roethlisberger getting away from pressure, and Hines Ward selling the fake down the field. You're 86. He's gone. What a job by Roethlisberger that Bob Sanders has to overrun the play trying to recover.
What a job by Roethlisberger to field this pitch back with one hand and then step away from Clint Session.
Gets away from him. Hard to do it against a defense that's always attacking.
First and goal at the 1. Moore looking for a second touchdown. He has it. Pittsburgh's in.
Hard to get big plays against the Colts defense. Two things went wrong on that last drive. One, they give up a short completion for a first down when they should have had him tackled short. And then they get caught out of position trying to stop a so-called run, and they allow the big play over the top.
Third completion from Roethlisberger over 20 yards to set it up. Noelvi Moore with that relationship with Mike Tomlin back in Minnesota. Has he come through with Willie Parker out again today, this time with a shoulder? He steps in the second time today. And a scoring drive again, a couple of big third down plays. 8 plays overall. And Moore taking it the final yard. 2 one-yard touchdown runs from Noelvi Moore.
You know, Jim, third down conversions a lot of times in NFL games is overrated, but it's a big part of this game because the Indianapolis Colts, they get the...
And he is knocked down at the 22 by Patrick Bailey. Didn't see a whole lot of soccer being played there.
Yeah, I just let that one go.
From the 22, Dominique Rhodes is the running back. Trying the right side, runs into Townsend and others at the 26, give him 4. Colts coming in here at 4 and 4. And their rushing offense last in the league, while Pittsburgh is number 1 against the rush. So.
Yeah, and you say, well, okay, when we talked about it right from the start, the Colts, they know they have to throw it to win. But Peyton Manning says, I know we can't win this game running it, but we got to stick with it just to make that defense be a little honest as we go along.
2nd and 6. That's going to be good for a first down. That's James Harrison riding down Reggie Wayne after a gain of 8.
Yeah, they throw these underneath routes so often, and this time they come underneath and then break back out. Good design. And Reggie Wayne, oh, he gets that right ankle or leg caught under there a little. He grabs it.
Grabbing the right hamstring.
I thought he was limping just a little bit when he got up.
First down from the 34. Wayne stays in the game. Peyton's looking for him. Knockdown. What a defensive play by Ike Taylor.
Yeah, what a play. He was in position once early in the game, tipped it up to Reggie Wayne for a touchdown. And this time, Reggie Wayne goes inside. It's another double move. Good double move. But look at the recovery by Ike Taylor. Watching Peyton, times it, puts his left arm behind the receiver in case you miss the football, you can still make the tackle.
And no huddle. They just had to wait for Reggie to return from down the field. And on a 2nd and 10, looking for Clark, and it's tipped away right off his fingertips. There were a whole bunch of Steelers right around them, including Ryan Clark.
Yeah, they just see that the football is coming over the middle, and they're trained. They get pressure on the quarterback, so they're gonna follow the quarterback's eyes. And look at that, 4 defenders, every angle covered, and the underneath receiver was well covered by Troy Polamalu.
Third and 10. And that one, Wayne got a hand on it, but again, very well guarded by Ryan Clark and Ike Taylor.
Jim, I talked about this all week. When you watch this Steeler team, what really shows up, look at Ike Taylor again. He's wanting to run underneath the throw. Good job by Manny moving in the pocket. It was a blitz by the Steelers, but again, 2 guys near the football when it's thrown.
Taylor just put his hand on top of Wayne's helmet, pushed his head back, which makes it all but impossible to keep your bearing straight and hold onto a football. The flag.
Ball start. Number 50 offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
It's been amazingly one-sided when these two have played, these two franchises, if you will, here in Pittsburgh. They first met here in 1968. Baltimore Colts beating the Steelers, and the Colts franchise has never won again in regular or postseason play since. 12 straight by Pittsburgh in the matchups here. Low kick by Hunter Smith. Holmes wants to return it, and he is knocked down at the 36 by Graham. So Roethlisberger on quite a roll so far. 125 yards, setting up 2 touchdowns. Beautiful downtown Pittsburgh. Just across the way here is its 1st and 10 for the Steelers, leading 14-7. Freeney not in the game right now for that defensive front. And another long ball looking for Holmes. There's contact. There's no flag. That was Kewan Ratliff running with him.
Remember, the defensive back can be the receiver too. He established position, the receiver runs over him.
Anything it could have been against Holmes.
That's right. Kewan Ratliff in position.
Mike Tomlin's reaction.
Yeah, he knows.
On the Swede now in the game. Kick out of Texas. There's more. Bob Sanders by the ankle. To a yard. Mike Tomlin in his 2nd year as the coach of the Steelers, 16-8. Exactly what Bill Cowher's record was. And that's including a playoff game at 16-9. His record matching Bill Cowher's through 24 regular season games.
Yeah, and I think I notice a difference in this football team this year. 2nd year under Mike Tomlin, and he just said, look, I understand my job better. And it's continuity. The guys understand me. And that communication, it's improved. And a lot of times when you communicate better, your play on the field improves.
3rd down and 9. Dawson had a hand on him. Thought he had him wrapped up. Spaeth with the catch, but he's short of the first. Barry Brackett preventing him from getting the 1st down. This Pittsburgh team, though, has been overcoming a lot of injuries this year, as you see. Roethlisberger able to escape a sack. And that idea of really using the injuries as an excuse, Tomlin just wouldn't hear of it. You see Roethlisberger flinging his sidearm over to Spaeth.
I think he was relishing the fact that they've overcome, and he just says that just defined who we are as a football team.
We are not going to let that be an excuse or a storyline. Ratliff, fair catch at the 16. Ernster, who was just signed with a good boot of 41 yards, no return. Peyton down 7, 2nd quarter. Here comes Harrison after him. Got him. James Harrison with his 11th sack of the year. We got right around Tony Hugo.
Yeah, he's just so fast. You talked about him. James Harrison, a lot of people just don't know or realize how good he is. You said it, he could be right up there for Defensive Player of the Year in the NFL. There's no doubt about that.
He liked that. Why wouldn't he?
Well, of course he would. Coverage down the field, very good, once again, by the Steelers.
You got to think Hainsworth down in Tennessee, strong candidate as well, and it's Dye into the 20. Timmons stops him after 5.
The one thing that has changed up today for Peyton Manning, when we talked to him last night, sacked twice, none in the previous 3 games. But remember, Jim, he said he was going to work the middle of the field. But the Steeler defense is really covering the middle of the field and making him or wanting him to throw it outside the numbers.
It's a 3rd and 6.
I'm okay.
People at home don't know you just knocked your own microphone off. You sacked yourself with your mic cord. Here's Manning going long. Harrison was there, unable to reel it in.
Well, that's what it's come down to. It's come down to Peyton Manning trying to make unbelievable throws down the field because look at the coverage. So he does the only thing he can do. He's under pressure, throw it over the top of the defender, and Marvin Harrison, very good chance of catching that. Been a good catch, but something we've seen him make many, many times.
Would have been a gain of about 30. So for the 3rd time now, Hunter Smith to punt. And Holmes the returner. Travels 38 yards and a fair catch. So approaching midway 2nd quarter, and the Steelers 14-7. Well, your dad's team, the Steelers, with 1st and 10 from their 42 with the touchdown lead. Moore secures it, trying to get the edge. It is denied by Ratliff. Holds it to a gain of 2. The Ravens. We saw the Ravens at Indianapolis a month ago, Phil, and they got throttled by the Colts. But man, have they turned it around ever since. Now 6-3 as today they demolished Houston. And they lost to Pittsburgh in their one matchup, of course, a later one coming in December at Baltimore. It was an overtime game here, won by the Steelers. Joe Flacco continues to impress you.
Oh, he truly is getting better every single week.
2nd and 8. They run it again with Moore. And again looks like he's going to be stopped short of the 1st. But he plows ahead. Matt Spaeth helped throw a block on that side. Collects 10.
Well, you said it, talking about his style. He runs the wind, and he said, what I'm going to do against this defense, because it's so fast, I'm going to look for that seam, and when I see it, I'm going forward. No dancing around. Gary Brackett has a chance to make the tackle, can't get it done, and look how many yards he gets after contact.
A really impressive young man, meeting with him on Friday. Talked about how if he's got to play big, he plays big. If I got to slash, I'll slash. Dart, I'll dart. Just kind of a chameleon. That's how he described his style. And he always produced when he got a chance to play at Minnesota, and certainly doing it here. He fields it on the screen. Tiaho quickly holds him to a gain of 5.
Well, when you look at the numbers so far, look at Noeldy Moore compared to Willie Parker. Just 5-point yards,
2nd down and 6.
a rush. That's what's impressive. In the Steeler running game, you know, we said it. Tony Dungy says, I got to see it to believe it. It's not quite what it's been in the past, but Noeldy Moore has definitely picked it up. Talk about him, Jim, from Tulane, a double major in college in 4 years while playing professional football.
In accounting and finance, you saw Willie Parker under the hood. He's out with the shoulder injury. That's incomplete.
Pass intended for
3rd down on the way. 3rd and 5. Accounting and finance major, and during the summers of his college years, he was playing minor league baseball in the Padres system. 3 summers, in fact, single-A ball out in Idaho Falls.
Yep, said I got worse every year.
Yeah, he did. Batting average kept slipping.
He knew he was going to play professional football. And so it's hard to concentrate on baseball. Something you got to really do year-round to be a good hitter. So he said my average went down every single summer.
But the GPA kept going up. Yep, his wife's got a master's degree in accounting. He just savors the chance to be playing in the NFL. There's Rutkowski hitting Spate for a first down right at the 30.
That's where you look if you're a quarterback. You look it off with your eyes. It's a zone defense, so they're reading you. Ben Roethlisberger sees the safety split, so he knows the middle is going to be open, and Spade, big target, perfect throw up high where it gives the tight end a better chance of making the catch.
And converting on third down for the 5th time in this half in 7 tries. Nice play, good for 13. Setting him up at the 29. To the run. And Welby Moore held to a yard by Brackett.
You know, Jim, go back. You said it. Another third down picked up. And just think what it's done to this Colts football team. It's just a huge reason why they're 4-4. The Pittsburgh Steelers today, 5-7 on third downs. And it does so many things. Field position, of course, leads to scores. You control the tempo of the game, and you keep Peyton Manning on the sidelines. What else do you do?
Second and 9. It's back to Moore underneath. And Keaho with the big collision holds him to 4. Another third down play coming up. Well, Roethlisberger, again, questionable all-week game-time decision. What a job Byron Leftwich did last week when he filled in the second half at Washington for Big Ben.
Yeah, he did a tremendous job. Mike Tomlin said, look, not picking him up. Charlie Banks got hurt in preseason. I wanted to get a quarterback, and that's why he took Byron Leftwich. A guy that if Ben Roethlisberger went down, he said we could still win the championship. That's what he thought of his football team. Very fortunate that nobody was smart enough to pick up Byron Leftwich.
We're down in 5. And this time, the pass is incomplete, no flag.
Pressure did it, because if Ben Roethlisberger would have had enough time, he's going to throw it to a wide-open Santonio Holmes underneath. But he felt the pressure, so he caught it and threw right in rhythm. Hines Ward going up the middle. Watch Santonio. Oh, no, I'll take that back. Santonio Holmes coming underneath was not wide open. He was covered.
This is a new holder, new long snapper. Second week for Jared Rutkowski, who's had a couple of high ones already in this game. Ernster just signed in recent days. It'll be 42 yards for Jeff Reed, who's made 17 straight in regular season play. And this kick is knocked through for the 10-point lead. 17-7. Reed puts 3 on the board for Pittsburgh. Back, and Peyton trying to stretch it out. His team struck on the 4th play, the 4th snap of the game on a long one. Reggie Wayne, but they've been stopped since. 9-play drive leading to the field goal for the Steelers. Coming up, we got the Sprint halftime report. JB, Dan, Shannon, and Boomer, and Coach Cowher. All the latest scores and highlights coming up on the Sprint halftime report, including what's going on out in San Diego, where the Chiefs are huge underdogs today, but already leading over the team. Taylor takes them down at the 30.
Persona on the return. Tackled by Mike Taylor.
Now Mike Tomlin. Listen in on this.
Well, Mike Tomlin, when you look at him, shows his emotions on the sideline. And when I look at this football team, the Steelers, I talked about a little bit earlier, he connects to these players. He's tough on them, but he talks to them a lot, and you can see it when you watch him practice and when you talk to the players in interviews, how much they like him and how much they trust him and listen to what he has to say.
They'll run on first down with a dive. Robinson out front. It's just a 2-yard run. There's a history in the Tomlin family with the Colts. His opponent today, his father, Ed Tomlin Sr., was drafted by the Baltimore Colts back in 1969 in the 10th round out of Hampton Institute and ended up playing fullback. His career took him north of the border to the Montreal Alouettes.
At the 31.
His dad drafted by the Colts 39 years ago.
Coach Tomlin pretty fired up about that last play, the hit. I couldn't see any good. It was about 4 Steelers that just stopped the runner cold.
Including James Ferrier. With a fake by Manning, now just throwing it away.
Manning has it.
I talked about it. Peyton Manning, the opportunities are not there. And he made the one long pass to Reggie Wayne for the touchdown. He's tried to make a couple spectacular throws, but the coverage, I think I'm a little surprised too. The corners of the Steelers are playing man-to-man on the outside, and they are winning this battle so far.
Oh, are they ever? They are just not giving any separation at all. A 3rd down and 9 for the Colts. What a catch at midfield. That's Harrison. Somehow it just was able to get by Ike Taylor.
What a catch, what a throw.
To the 50-yard line.
You judge it at home. Ike Taylor on the inside, cuts underneath.
Goes for 19 yards. I mean, it was exactly where it had to be.
It was
not an inch to spare.
You got it exactly. It made it in there by 1 inch. Nice catch by Marvin Harrison.
Inside of 3 minutes to go in the half, and Indianapolis has a chance to do a little business here before the intermission. After going long, and there's Harrison. Oh my goodness, that's a touchdown. He makes a most difficult catch at the 50 with a player draped all over him, and then comes right back. And of course, this Hall of Fame career so seldom.
The move? Oh, what a move! He sold it. Peyton Manning trying to hold. The timing wasn't there. We talked about the single coverage on the outside, and Peyton Manning, hey, you got to be upset. You don't get many opportunities for long touchdowns against this defense. That was one missed.
2nd down and 10.
That'll back them off. That'll change the Steelers' coverage and make them start double covering the wide receivers.
Back with the stretch run. A dive gets past the wave, and good run this time for a 1st down. Goes for 11.
That last play made the Steelers take their safeties, play them deep, and that's why it gave them a better chance to run the football, and they picked it up. And as we heard the Colts talk about, wow, it's just amazing how teams play us now. They just show us no respect. They don't even honor our run game.
It was the Colts' longest run of the day. I saw Harrison go over and have a little chat with Peyton Manning. Got Rhodes now lined up behind Peyton. They fake to Rhodes. They go to him on the pass. And that's Foot, bringing him down at the 32. We're at the 2-minute warning with the Steelers lead at 10. 17-7 Steelers. The Titans remain undefeated. Win at Chicago today. Indianapolis, knowing it's all about wild card the rest of the way. And it's interesting, with 8 games to play, they felt like they need 7 wins to get into the playoffs, which seemed a little extreme for both of us.
Well, they think 10-6 might make it, but why take a chance? Let's win at least 11.
11 would guarantee, they felt. That last snap before the 2-minute warning, the completion over to Rhodes, was the first snap of the game in Pittsburgh territory.
Number 71, offense, 5-yard penalty.
Here's what
2nd down.
You and we talked about at dinner Friday night, and you talk about this Colts team. I go, wow, how the NFL changes so fast. Where everybody that used to play the Colts, wow, if we can just keep the game settled down and give ourselves a chance to win at the end. And now, the Colts come into meetings with us, and that's what they tell us. Well, if we can just control the game, maybe we can find a way to win it late.
Certainly different than we've seen in the last handful of years out of Indianapolis. 2nd down with pressure. The pass had to be released early because that was James Harrison coming in on the backfield.
Well, you know, Jim, as you watch this play, trying to get somebody down the field, no time to even make a decision by Peyton Manning. But the Colts right now just have to play almost perfect to get it done. If they make little mistakes, if they turn it over once or twice, they can't overcome it. They give up a big play on defense. It puts them in a hole where they don't recover. So their margin of error very small.
Too long for a field goal try should they fail to gain anything from here. It's 3rd down and 8. Pass should have been picked. Polamalu would have been going all the way. Intended for Dallas Clark. And they're going to punt.
Yeah, they talked about this. You just can't give a good quarterback a second. What a play by Troy Polamalu. He runs around. He's inside and cuts and beats him to the football. We talked about that at the start of the game, Jim. The safeties of both teams. Troy Polamalu, Polamalu is just more dynamic versus the pass than Bob Sanders for the Colts.
Timeout called by the Steelers with 1:52 to go in the half. You might be wondering, why did the Steelers call timeout? The clock was not running. They had a player who was not going to leave the field in time before the snap. Would have been a penalty. Andrew Smith, 12 punts inside the 20 this year, only 2 touchbacks. And this one does exactly what they had hoped. Dies at the 7-yard line. Garcon actually downing it there.
Well, why do you call a timeout for... You give a 5-yard penalty to the Colts, they're going to go for it on 4th. That's why you call the timeout and keep the situation the way it was.
Yeah, the ball would have been at the 33 if they would have marked off 5 yards. It would have been 4th and 3. Definitely figured they would go for it at that point. Now instead, back at the 8.
3 timeouts for the Colts.
2 for the Steelers. And a quick hit by Robert Mathis. On Muweldy Moore. Holds him to a gain of a yard, and we've got a timeout called by Indianapolis. And that Pittsburgh secondary. Safeties over there. Smith, Polamalu, Carter. Corners, they have really airtight so far on those Colt receivers, except for the one where Harrison was open, would have gone for a touchdown.
Really the only one you could say where they did not get the job done on the outside.
The 2nd down and 9. Roethlisberger running away from the heat. And the catch is made 2 yards shy of a first by Spade. Gary Brackett backing him up. And another timeout called by the Colts. With 1:30 to go. Colts trying to get the ball back before the half. Back with the ball at the 16. And a 3rd down and 2 to go for the Steelers.
Well, they're going to use this bunch formation, top of the screen. They throw a lot of passes out of it. Hard to get tight coverage. You got 3 guys together.
Picked off by Ratliff. Oh, the break that the Colts needed right before halftime.
That is when you get a situation like that, when they bunch the receivers to one side, they always give the quarterback the option to throw to the one receiver on the other. Here he is at the bottom of the screen. It's one-on-one. That's why he goes to the bottom and not to the top. And Ratliff knows it. If you're playing the Steelers, always know they're going to run 2 routes to the backside of those bunch routes. A little pressure. Ben Roethlisberger does not see it as well as he should. Throws off balance, and it's an easy interception for Keywan Ratliff. Good job.
Ben tripped on his own guy, and that was intended for Holmes. Keywan Ratliff starting today for the injured Kelvin Hayden from nearby Youngstown, Ohio. He makes the play. That sets up the Colts offense. 1:24 to go in the half, and 1 timeout at the 30 of Pittsburgh. Looking for Harrison.
Manning's pass intended for
And again, coming up, we've got the Sprint halftime report. We'll be handing it off to our man James Brown back at the studio. Pittsburgh native Dan Marino is in there with Shannon and Boomer, and Coach Cowher has a little bit of history around here. All coming up on the Sprint halftime report. Peyton's 3 of his last 14.
Yeah, but I'll tell you why. He's not going to hit a high percentage today, Jim, as you say that number. The good defense, and they are looking for the big plays. So they're going to throw it, and they're throwing it with a purpose.
There's an open man. It's Harrison waiting for it at the 18.
Manning's pass
Right
complete to
between
Harrison.
Clark and Gay for 12.
And what they're doing,
Second
when I
by
watch
Gay
these
and
Colts,
Clark.
as I watch the receivers run down the field,
18.
they're running a lot of double moves. So Peyton Manning's going to hold the football, and they're going to see if they can shake the pass coverage and get those big plays.
Hold on to that one timeout. And first down from the 18. It's over to Gonzalez. His first grab. And he dives down at the 13. Good for 4. Still no hurry. Need to take that timeout.
Second
Points
down
out the
and 5.
signals. His team down 10. Second and 6. We look for Clark. Now rolling out through the back of the end zone. There is a flag.
The movement in the pocket created a hold.
Prior to the pass, holding. Number 26 defense. 5-yard penalty with an automatic first down.
That's the first penalty of the game against Pittsburgh.
Watch the Shea Townsend. He's on Gonzalez. A little fake, and then he tries to speed up. He's all over it. Oh, there it is, the change of directions because the movement by Peyton Manning. And you saw the throw on the jersey.
28 seconds. First and goal from the 9. Intended for Clark. Double covered. Olamalu and William Gay. There was nothing there, and Manning wisely threw it through the back of the end zone.
Yeah, I think that was one of the key points of this team today. Just keep throwing it away. They knew there were going to be a lot of throwaways. There has been in this first half.
And second and goal with 23 seconds. They run it with Rhodes. Open room on the left side, and he's down to the 2.
Rhodes on the carry.
What a tackle by Ike Taylor.
Tackle by Taylor.
Open field, you and Dominique Rhodes.
Boy, they lost some time before they called that timeout. Peyton was trying to get him set. Time for one more play. They still can make a throw to the end zone with 9 seconds.
They can. Ike Taylor, 24, top of your screen. Look at this. Boy, he breaks down beautifully and waits to the last second, then dives and hits him at the ankles or below the knees and knocks Rhodes down. Yeah, they can do either, Jim. Well, no, now they've got to throw it in the end zone. I'm sorry, they have no timeouts left.
Well, they've now, you see this red zone, which is so heavily emphasized by everyone in the league these days, but 15 of their last 17 trips in this inside the 20 for the Colts have resulted in touchdowns. That's a phenomenal record. But the Steelers are the best in the league at preventing touchdowns in the red zone. We're going to have one play at it here coming up from the Colts. They'll have to have an end zone throw with 9 seconds. Touchdown, Colts. Dallas Clark.
Yep, really good job. What they do, watch Dallas Clark. Here's the defender. He backs up. Good recognition. That's plays like that. They make it look so easy. They throw the football so much and had so much success over the years. They got a good feel to execute in tight pressure situations like we just saw.
Well, you saw the defenders just back up, and of course Clark knew he only had to be right around the goal line, and he actually stepped a yard deep, so all needed wide open. And it's a 3-point game. Peyton Manning's second touchdown pass of the game.
Well, what they got, you're Peyton Manning, and you're watching the defense. Here's Dallas Clark. They're going to come after the passer. Here comes Frazier. Boy, the immediate hookup. And I tell you what, if Peyton Manning doesn't throw it there, the receiver coming behind, I couldn't tell who it was. If it's Reggie Wayne, he's going to be wide open too.
So they cash in on the costly interception thrown by Roethlisberger.
Well, you know, that goes back to a phrase. Well, I hate the phrase, Jim, game manager, but managing a game, Ben Roethlisberger did not do it. He took a chance when you're backed up at the end of the first half. You never never, when you're up 17-7, take a chance. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's just, you know, the interesting thing, too, is on third down, the thing that, again, we had been emphasizing so much here today, and how Tony Dungy mentioned it several times over to us last night about that being the key. He felt, and of course you could say that virtually every week, but this team this season has been a storyline that's menaced them all the way.
Well, it's the way their defense is built, Jim. They get into these third down situations more than other teams.
Well, this time they made the play, and it led to 7. Spaeth fields it. Touchdown with a couple of seconds to go here.
You know, you look at this first half, the Steelers, they had their chances. They had the momentum. They were making plays. Their defense was playing great. 17-7. The Colts were probably going, all right, let's just get in 17-7. That's okay. Then all of a sudden you turn around, and now it's 17-14. So you go into this locker room, both teams do, with a totally different mindset than they would have had 5 minutes ago.
Good punt by Smith, also inside the 10. The pick by Ratliff, the touchdown by Clark. It's halftime. Spread halftime report coming up after this message and a word from your local station. We're back at Heinz Field. Jim Nance and Bill Sims. Colts will be receiving the second half kick. And time of possession heavily in favor of the Steelers. You would think this could have been, certainly a large lead. It's only a field goal difference right now.
As you look at those stats, what's important, neither team can run the football. It's about throwing it down the field. They have both done that. And, you know, the Colts, Peyton Manning said it, we're going to throw to win. And they're trying to make those big plays. And, of course, the biggest play maybe of the whole first half was the interception by Ben Roethlisberger.
What about the play so far of that Pittsburgh defense? That's the #1 defense in the league this year.
Tremendous in a lot of ways, but the fact that they almost gave up that long touchdown pass to Marvin Harrison, I'm interested to see how they play. Are they going to be as aggressive in the second half as they were in the first?
And a reminder, this game is brought to you in high definition here on CBS. Peyton, and this is not a reflection on his accuracy. This is really about that pair of corners and the safeties, that Pittsburgh defense just blanketing his receivers for the most part, except that one Harrison incident we mentioned. Was 9 for 23 in that half. Sacked twice, but he had 2 touchdown passes and no picks.
It was a good 9 for 23. So, you know, look, Jim, you know you have to have a game plan. That was their game plan coming in, looking for big plays, knowing you have to throw it away. It wasn't going to be necessarily a great numbers game, but here it is, 17-4.
At the 25. Opening drive took almost 6 minutes for the Steelers. Final yard covered by Moore. 4th play for the Colts offense. The spin move and Wayne to the end zone. Moore off a flea flicker setup to Ward. Moore takes it the last yard. There was a field goal in there by Reed from 42 yards, and then the touchdown pass to Clark. Set up by a late interception by Ratliff before the half. The Steelers are the only team in the league that has not allowed a third quarter touchdown. A dive bounces off the back of his lineman. Takes it ahead for a yard. Kershke and Kiesel combine on the hit.
A little different look for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Even though they only had 3 defensive linemen in there, they line up like it's a 4-3 defense, and it makes it even harder to run the football against them.
That's a defense, Phil, that this season has allowed only 1 run over 20 yards long. That came on Monday night. Clinton Portis, 22 yards. That's it. Longest rush of the season allowed. Manning to Clark. Set up 3rd and a long yard. Going right in front of Lawrence Timmons.
That's what they were hoping to do a lot more of in this football game. And I'm almost surprised then that the Steelers didn't have a extra defensive back in the game, and they could put Troy Polamalu on Dallas Clark in those situations. And that's a matchup, in my opinion, favors the Pittsburgh Steelers because Troy Polamalu is just faster than Dallas Clark.
Set of receivers stacked right and left. 3rd and 1. Manning flings it open. Gonzalez with a flag, and he has the first pending the infraction.
Manning's pass complete to Gonzalez. Flag on the play.
Went for 12. The hold call against
Prior
Pittsburgh.
to the pass, holding, number 26 defense. That penalty will be declined. Result of the play, 1st and 10.
So they'll take the reception and the first down out at the 47. Mike Tomlin saying that's twice now you've called that on us. It happened right before the half. It set up the Colts on a goal-to-go situation. Peyton's hit 5 of his last 6. Make it 6 or 7 as Gonzalez takes it into Pittsburgh territory. Joseph Adai did a good job of picking up Lawrence Timmons.
Yeah, it's tough. And when you play this Steelers defense, watch Joseph Adai comes across the formation. He picks him up, but if you're a quarterback, your running back or a tight end is blocking these outside linebackers, you better get rid of the football in rhythm or you're going to take a big hit.
Dominique Rhodes comes in. 2nd down and 4.
That's what a 3-4 defense is all about. Outside linebackers, when they do get matched up against running backs or tight ends, they got to make it happen, and the Steelers do.
Reggie Wayne takes it middle, down at the 35. Good rhythm to this opening possession of the second half for the Colts.
Well, it's good rhythm. The receivers are now creating separation from the defensive backs, and that's twice Anthony Gonzalez has done it. Once to the outside, and that last play coming across the middle.
I think Adai was shaken up when he put that block on Lawrence Timmons a couple of plays ago. He's looking gimpy on that sideline. Rhodes remains in the backfield, first down. Taking plenty of time on the play clock to change things up.
Well, he can block it up and throw it outside.
There it is. Over to Harrison. Sidesteps a hit. And takes it down to the 38. Harrison on the tackle.
They love to throw these screens. I've seen them do it many times over the years. Peyton Manning throws that screen. That's why he changed the formation, because he was expecting a blitz. And if you get a blitz, well, that's not even an easy throw. He had to throw it over the top of James Ferrier.
Deshae Townsend was hurt a play ago. Anthony Madison's replaced him. Over here on Harrison on the right side. Townsend out, Madison in. 2nd down and 4. Peyton looked that way, then goes back to the other side. And that's Garcon trying to get to his feet. He's going to be about 2 yards shy of the first.
Yeah, Peyton Manning was faking it to his right and wanted to throw it up the slot to Reggie Wayne on the inside, but he's covered, so the last resort, your third receiver, is to the outside. Fake it to the right. He's looking for the touchdown at the seam. It's not there. Boy, that's a fast decision and a good throw, really.
3rd down and 2. Peyton 6 for 6 to start the second half. Adai is back in.
I'd call that some pretty good halftime adjustments or thinking and play selection by Tom Moore and the Colts at halftime.
That catch by Garcon, the first of his career. They're going to run for the first, and Adai is backed up. Looked like he had it, and then was pushed back by Nick Eason. And decision time about a foot shy of the first, or less.
Looks like it's short. No doubt they're going to go for it.
Instead of a 43-yard field goal that could tie it, they're going to call for the chain gang.
Looks like he's got it, Jim. But then it's just, you said it, Eason just does a good job staying underneath, not giving ground. This Hokie gets in there, makes part of the tackle too.
Tony Dungy coming back to Pittsburgh, where he played on the Super Bowl 13 champions, played for a couple of years for Coach Chuck Noll, and then later was an assistant here for 8 years, and that's a first. This time the yellow line deceived us. So first down for the Colts.
Gain of 2, 1st and 10 at the 25.
Yeah, he told you something you didn't know last night as we.
There he is with Chuck Noll. He had 9 interceptions, Tony did, in his 2 years playing as a Steeler, and then 8 years being mentored by Chuck Noll.
And you see that number 21. You asked him, well, Moelde Moore is wearing it. Why did you wear 21 with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
What a story for Roberto Clemente. A man he never met, but who was starring, of course,
the Pittsburgh Pirates.
With the Pirates. Shea Townsend has come back in. That's Rhodes. James Ferrier the first to get to him. But Tony Dungy was so much regard for the Rooney family, called them special, and remembers his days playing here and coaching here, where the Rooneys always reminded the players that you're not just the Steelers, you are the Pittsburgh Steelers. You are representing this community. He's taken that philosophy with him when he coached at Tampa and now in Indianapolis. You're the Indianapolis Colts. He says he makes that same speech to his team every year. 2nd down and 7. Gonzalez, Polamalu wouldn't let him get away.
Picked up by Polamalu.
3rd and about 3 upcoming.
Troy Polamalu is such a factor in the middle of the field. Number 43 comes off Dallas Clark, then quick enough and good enough to get Gonzalez as he comes underneath and make the tackle and keep it to a short gain.
And doggone it, people like him. 3rd down and 3. This is good enough and quick enough. Rifles it. Harrison. Oh, again, he drops a touchdown. And he's hurt. Carter and Gay were the two in on him.
Well, he took a hit similar to this, Jim, against the New England Patriots last week. And he knows hesitation. He sees the safety coming over. You try to catch it and protect yourself, and it looks like he just gets hit on top of the helmet. Perfect throw. Oh, it comes out.
Well, he's back on his feet.
Yeah, he's up and moving. Those are tough catches for wide receivers. And if you remember, going down the right sideline on last week, he took a big hit in a similar situation on his back. Got up and got it, came off the field on that one too.
Peyton had hit his previous 8 throws before that drop. Anderson, as always, goes back to the end of the bench.
Fast safeties. That's what stopped the touchdown that time by the Colts. The speed of the Steelers safety is able to get there and intimidate the receiver.
Vinatieri to tie it from 36 yards. Yes. Drills it. 17 all. But good one brewing here in Pittsburgh. Colts, Steelers. Looking at the images, the openings that perhaps are down the field, making close examination. He had it going on that drive.
So many times offense, it's all about just getting in rhythm and confidence, and it just gets a lot easier for Tom Moore, the offense coordinator, to call plays when you pick up a couple first downs.
Davis and Russell keep the receive.
Vinatieri has this one a yard out, and it's Gary Russell springing free and lost his footing. Another Minnesota back. 39-yard return. Roethlisberger coming back out for the first time, second half. And after the good run back by Russell, Steelers from the 40-yard line. They've only snapped at one of the last 19 plays as the Colts now lead in time of possession. And a little opening here, pass out in the open for McHugh for a gain of 2.
Yeah, you think about it, the momentum and everything is right now on this Colts side. Roethlisberger's interception. Before that, Peyton Manning missed, or they didn't connect on the long throw to Marvin Harrison. They get the turnover and score, and that very good drive to start the second half. So there's pressure on this offense, not only get back in the game, but maybe give their defense a little time and rest and take the Colts offense out of rhythm.
On a 2nd and 8. It's back to Moore with the 2 touchdowns in that first half. And he squeezes out about 5 yards. Right behind Kemoyatu.
Well, Ben Roethlisberger, when you look at the first half, He had 3 big plays early. I thought the flea flicker, tremendous play by him, just able to get the football off. But he lost his patience at the most important time. And, you know, a lot of times when we do games, the other teams talk about Ben Roethlisberger that he can be impatient, tries to make the big plays, and when you do that as a quarterback, a lot of times that will lead to turnovers.
You surprised how he's been able to throw it with that shoulder?
Well, he hadn't really tried to overpower the football, Jim, but he's done a good job of just not taxing it by putting too much on it.
3rd down. He had enough on it that time to pick up the first. Zipped it in there to Moore for the 1st down, a gain of 6.
You know, and I think Ben Roethlisberger, why he's been so successful in his career, he is what I call a rhythm thrower. And this is a good example. Watch. Takes it, looks the defense off, hitches, turns, sets, and throws. Good position that enables him to really control the football. And really he throws one that's got the perfect speed, and he throws spirals, so it's easy for the wide receivers to catch.
So they advance it over to the Colts side of the field. 6 minutes to go in the 3rd. Really carries out the fake. And that's Moore unable to hold on to it. And sensing an opportunity, that was Ratliff ready to pounce on that deflected ball.
Oh yeah, footballs tipped up into the middle of the field inside the numbers. Look out. It's always bad news for a quarterback in your offense. But again, good protection. Roethlisberger looking down the field. They wanted a big play, but double coverage that time on the outside by the Indianapolis Colts.
Down and 10 for the Steelers. Led this at 17-7 in the 2nd quarter. And unanswered by the Colts. Big pass, good grab by Ward. Stiff arm. And runs it out.
Roethlisberger's
pushing Melvin Bullock and able to gain about 5.
Yeah, it was a blitz. Good timing. Here comes Antoine Buffet. What a catch by Hines Ward, and able to get a couple extra yards out of it.
Gain of 5. 3rd down and 5 at the Colts 43.
Ward comes up smiling. They love that. Stiff arm he was able to throw. Marvin Harrison, report from the bench now. Mild concussion and very questionable he'll return. 3rd down. They've converted 1 already on this series. This one 5 needed. Almost picked off by Bob Sanders. He told us last night he wanted 2 today in front of his family and friends.
Yeah, why 1? Get 2, but speed. Watching the quarterback and able to react as Ben Roethlisberger. Good rhythm, didn't give the throw away. What a play by Bob Sanders.
There's his parents, his father, Marion, and his mother, Jean. 2 of the 60 that came down on buses, all set up by their son, Bob. Down and watch him play from his hometown of Erie. And the kick inside the 20 by Ernster. Ratliff with the fair catch. Sanders makes the play to get the ball back to the Colts offense. Marvin Harrison is back in. And Joseph Adai is again pinned for a loss. James Harrison and Brett Kiesel, 2 of those to combine on the hit.
Yeah, he just can't move these guys out. This Pittsburgh front 7, they are athletic, they're fast, they're strong.
Well, we know James Harrison's strong.
Yeah, we know that for sure. By watching him play, and of course talking to him about what he does during workouts.
2nd down and 11. Six defensive backs in for the Steelers. Ahead to Adai, and he steps out just past the 1st down marker. You set it down.
Yeah, what a job, and that's kind of what we talked about early in the game. Work these underneath defenders. Peyton Manning looking left. When he moves, he looks short right away, and good job by Joseph Adai getting away from James Ferrier.
Picked up 12. backs up a dive and goes back under center. And the toss to a dive. Tries the head fake. You're not getting away from Polamalu. That's a gain of 2.
A guy on the carry. Tackled by Polamalu.
Well, Troy Polamalu, we've seen him do such a tremendous job in the passing game today. But how about this? Timing it. That's what he's so good at. Timing his rush towards the line of scrimmage, whether it's to stop a run or to blitz the quarterback in a passing situation. Like a steer wrestle that time. Grab him by the leg and throw him down.
A little intensity there. 2nd down and 8.
He runs about 6 miles a game, just where he lines up and takes off.
That was influenced by Ike Taylor. He was rushing in, intended for Reggie Wayne.
Yeah, both teams throwing some surprises to the opposing offenses today. Blitz this time by the Steelers. Ike Taylor coming. Peyton Manning nowhere to throw it, but low and outside, and that cannot be caught.
Down and 8. Ball tipped in for the 2nd time. Wayne gets it off the deflection. Again, it was off Ike Taylor's fingertips. This time for 16.
Another double move. It looked like Reggie Wayne in motion switched positions with Marvin Harrison, and Ike Taylor all over the route. Doesn't go for the little fake. See, he went outside and he said, look, you two switch positions. I know it.
Wayne over 100 yards. The first tip reception went for the touchdown.
How about that? 2 passes, perfectly defense. Could have led to 2 interceptions. Instead, they lead to 1 touchdown and a big completion.
Mike Taylor saying this is getting old. First down carry. It's Dominique Rhodes. And again, running into traffic. Keep us posted. 2nd down and 11. On the field, Gonzalez, no, tipped away by Townsend.
That might have been a good thing. There were so many defenders. Watch Dallas Clark in the slot coming down the field. No, it's Gonzalez, I'm sorry. Oh, and Ryan Clark is coming from one side. Troy Polamalu is coming from the other. Good play by Shea Townsend.
3rd and 11.
Expecting blitz. 2 guys in the backfield with him.
Seal the pocket for a moment. Pass release. Gonzalez is there. The ball comes out. He dropped it incomplete. He was hammered by Tyrone Carter. Carter's play takes away the reception. There's a player down on the field. One more look as they tend to the injured Steeler. It was Shea Townsend who was shaken up. He was not hit. There's Hunter Smith to punt. Townsend was able to walk off the field like a leg injury. Holmes fields it, takes off. All the way out to the 30. That's a good run back. Tackled by Clint Session. 51-yard punt, 21-yard return. We're back in Pittsburgh. Jim Nance and Phil Simms. And the Steelers with only 1 first down over the last 20 minutes of action. What a play coming up, making a hit. Tim Jennings. Flurries.
Okay.
Last minute of the 3rd. Good pass to Spaeth. The tight end has the first. Gain of 12.
Yeah, Matt Spaeth, he's done a good job today. And you know he was paying attention when they were talking about certain characteristics of this Colts defense in film sessions and in meetings. Protect the football. He's been doing that once he catches it.
Filling in for Heath Miller. And Spaeth with 4 catches today, had 3 on the season coming in. And to close out the third quarter, it's Moore.
Moore, the ball carrier.
Contact after just a 1-yard run. That's the end of the third quarter. We're tied going to the fourth. Back after this message and a word from your local station.
Steelers. Second down at 9.
15 minutes to go in regulation. Jim Nance, Phil Simms, still guaranteeing all week this one would come down to the wire. And we appear headed that way. Second down and 9 for the Steelers from the 42. Another good grab by Hines Ward. Wrapped up by Buffet, but he's short of the first. He'll be third and about 2.
Hines Ward over the years in the slot. A play you see the Colts run all the time. Clear it out with the inside receiver. Let one of the wide receivers come across the middle. Going to have to make some tough catches when you run that type of route. And that was a nice catch by Hines Ward.
Five wides here on third down. So spreading it out. Empty backfield. Middle and caught by Ward. Gary Brackett had his back turned.
Yeah, that was a tremendous job of recognizing the defense and knowing how to throw the football by Ben Roethlisberger. Hines Ward is going down the middle, and he's really covered. 86, nice double move. If he leads him up the field, it's big trouble. So he throws it low and across, makes the Hines Ward go down to catch the football. Really, really good execution.
Goes for 18. Roethlisberger over 200 on the day. On the 34 of Indianapolis. Handoff. For Moore. For no gain. Dawson in on the hit along with Buffet. This is such a crucial time for the Colts. Again, that division. Tennessee's just run away with things. Plus, they've already got a win in their first matchup against the Colts, effectively 5 games in front of them now. If the Colts were to lose today, or actually coming in, they were 5 up on 4-4 and 8-8, 8-0. Titans already with a victory. Left alone, Nate Washington brings it in. Ratliff Dexon. Steelers now move it inside the 30.
Nice play all around. Nice play by the Steelers. It's a blitz again by the Colts. And Keywan Ratliff, top of your screen, knows we got a blitz. I got to be careful because if my guy catches it, there will be nobody to help me make the tackle. Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger was hoping, wow, if we break one tackle, it's a touchdown.
Another 3rd and 3.
Could be a run. The running back is awful deep.
Rolling out. Man open. Washington catches on the last 2 plays. First down, Pittsburgh. Good for 6.
Yeah, you know, you're talking about throwing in rhythm. And that's what they do this time. Nate Washington to the outside. Not an easy throw for Ben Roethlisberger, but just times his steps perfectly, gets a good grip, and puts it in a tremendous spot for the wide receiver.
And the set it down from the 20. Moore taking Giordano with him for about 6. So they've regained the momentum that really from the late second through the third looked like the Colts had taken control of that.
Yeah, they really have, and that kind of illustrated some of the problems that the Colts have had over the last year or whatever, or this season. They had everybody up there to stop the running game, and they still give up 6, 7 yards.
2nd and 4. Moore gets the outside, inside the 10, down at the 5. 1st and goal to go for the Steelers.
And you know, listen, if you're going to put everybody up there on your defense, you got to space the field. And they don't space it properly. Nobody to the outside. What a good run by Moore, just recognizing that, seeing the defense, and then reacting to it. Boy, nice block. It, leading the way by Kerry Davis. Bob Sanders had no choice but to give himself up.
Moore already with 2 touchdown runs. A 6-minute drive and a timeout called by the Steelers. We approach the 10-minute mark, and the game is tied. Steelers looking to go in. Tony Dungy, who gave Mike Tomlin his entry into the National Football League. Hired him as his secondary coach.
Interviewed him for a whole day.
Down to Tampa. Yep. What a process he put him through. One of 9 candidates interviewed. Tomlin dazzled him. And his team now, Tomlin, 1st and goal to go at the 5. Looking to break the tie. It's Moore down to the 1.
Well, this is about as impressive as the Steelers have been all day. Terrific drive, but they've done it both ways with some power inside running and then a couple key 3rd down passes by Ben Roethlisberger. Bruce Arians, offensive coordinator.
Everyone in tight. 2nd and goal. Moore again. Not this time. No gain. Trying to get for the 3rd time in this game a 1-yard plunge for 6.
Yeah, this is a defense that said we are playing run. Everybody attacking the line of scrimmage, slanting to the side that the run is going to. That's why it was so difficult for Moore to find any lanes to run in.
Robert Mathis the first to grab hold of him. Peyton staying loose. 3rd and goal. Back to Moore, and he's backed up. What a stick. That was the rookie Eric Foster out of Rutgers. Pile driving Mewelde Moore.
Yeah, they lost yardage that time.
Out comes the field goal unit. Foster got up on his feet in time. They just hammer him. So they're going to go ahead and take the lead here, or attempt to, on the chippy.
Yeah, I would kick it too. You lost yardage. It's almost 2 yards, and you don't want to go for it on 4th down.
Remember the snaps and holds. This is all new territory. Rutkowski in for the injured Greg Warren. Flags first.
Delay. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Make the 24-yard try. They were working on the timing all week. Jared Rutkowski, who had been with the Steelers the past 2 training camps, he was just October the 25th. This is his 2nd game in for Greg Warren, their usual long snappers out for the season with an ACL. And Paul Unsker just signed as the holder. They get it done. Steelers in front by 3. A drive that lasted 8 minutes and 27 seconds.
Jim, let's watch Eric Foster, 68. Look what he does. He's double teamed, splits it on the ground, gets up, flushes the runner, and takes him down and saves the Colts 4 points.
And you took note of how deflating that was here, just getting a field goal after having the football 8.5 minutes.
The players are deflated. The coach, Mike Tomlin, you could see it on his face.
On one hop, Garcon is out of bounds near the 25. Manning must lead the comeback. Down 3. Inside of 8 minutes remaining. Pittsburgh leads at 20-17. It's been a while since the Colts offense has been on the field. Play action. Manning going deep. Wayne is there, and the pass is over his head. He was able to get a little separation off Ike Taylor.
Yeah, he was, Jim. And the Colts are setting a record for double moves in a football game. Every pass he throws, if it's in the middle of the field, outside, they're hesitating, making little moves in or out, and then taking off.
Manning's 218 yards passing, the most allowed in a game this season by the Steelers. Redirecting, Joseph the dime. Quick pass to Wayne, waiting for the blockers. Here the Colts were down 10 in the second quarter, pulled even at 17 before the Steelers went on an 8.5-minute drive and got a short field goal for the lead. Manning on third down to a dime. He is knocked down short of the first by James Harrison. They'll have to punt.
There's so many reasons why you see this Pittsburgh Steelers defense is so good. They're blitzing a lot of people from the right, but look what happens. They got extra defenders out there to defend the pass to the defensive left, to the offensive right. Travis Kursky, one of the down linemen, gets up there and actually would have a chance to make a play. The receiver cut back.
Smith's punt.
Go, let it go.
45-yard punt. It's Holmes. Take it down in a hurry.
Holmes on the return.
Philip Wheeler on the tackle. 6:13 remaining. Colts have all of their timeouts. Quick pass over to Holmes, and it's going to lose yardage. That's Ratliff coming up and making the quick hit, and the fumbles after the whistle.
Boy, Ratliff has really played well today. Defended some passes, of course, the big interception. But what's been most impressive is his tackling. Just attacking whoever has the football short. That's the way to do it. Go down low, grab your feet.
Re-signed after they lost Marlon Jackson. That was a real damaging injury, a practice injury for the year with an ACL. Second down and 13. Ward left alone, and he rolls for a few more inches, but it'll be third down coming up, in this Colts defense desperately needing to get off the field.
Well, you know, Tim, sometimes, you look at the Colts, and every once in a while you got to man them up because they just drop back, and it's the bend but don't break. But everybody in this league now is so good at throwing and catching the football, they don't need big windows. So there you got them in a great situation, and you give them 7 or 8 yards to make this third down much, much easier.
Ward over 100 on the day, 8 for 108.
Man up this time.
The blitz, the pass is picked by Jennings, and the Colts have the football at the Pittsburgh 32.
There you go. Manned up the pass coverage. Blitz Ben Roethlisberger. He had to try to get rid of the football quickly. And how about Jennings just going after the football? Here comes the blitz from this side. Bob Sanders. Look at the pocket collapse. And Tim Jennings just attacks the football better than Santonio Holmes.
Yeah, he outfought Holmes for the football. Then he just ripped it away.
It looked like maybe Santonio Holmes was going to stop and break back outside. I'm not sure.
Roethlisberger over there trying to get in on the tackle. You'll remember the tackle he made against the Colts back in the playoffs in his Super Bowl winning year. Well, Nick Harper. It's Rhodes. Good block up ahead by Gonzalez, and it gains 9. Dallas Clark also aiding the cause.
What a nice call here. You got a defense that's emotional, a team that is. They over-pursued. They open up the big running lane, and the Colts have the draw play on. It gets 9 yards.
Harrison is being manned up by Anthony Madison. You're going to try to run for it and get denied as Rhodes is hit in a hurry by Polamalu and James Harrison.
Tackled by Harrison.
The man who's capable, when you talk about Harrison, of squatting, what did he tell us, 570 pounds.
Yeah, it shows when you watch him play. So powerful, so fast. And Polamalu at the line of scrimmage making a big tackle.
Third down in the yard bench press is 475. Again, trying to run for it. Finding a little bit of a hole. It's Rhodes for the first. Squeezing through on that right side for 6.
Yeah, that was. You said it right. Just staying the course and knowing the situation. What a cutback. And Jeff Saturday gets the block that knocks Eason down that allows Dominique Rhodes to cut back.
In the red zone. With 3 minutes and change. Play action. Looking downfield. It's going to be a touchdown. Dominique Rhodes. Polamalu is right over his fingertips, and Manning has the third touchdown pass of the day. And the Colts have their first lead.
Sorry, Jim. Just one design by the Colts. Watch Peyton Manning. Play action. Looks down the middle. Waits. And then Polamalu. Well, really nobody is there. The corner or the safety, it's not really Troy Polamalu's guy, but he senses the last second but not able to get in the way of the throw.
Off the Jennings interception. All 32 yards picked up by Rhodes. Including the go-ahead score, and one more by Vinatieri. 3 minutes to go in Pittsburgh, and the Steelers trail for the first time. The last time the Colts won here, the only time they won here, September of 1968, the Baltimore Colts. Their defense picked off 3 passes and returned them for touchdowns. Their defensive coordinator was a guy named Chuck Noll, who the next year would go from Baltimore to Pittsburgh and have a little bit of a run here. It's been a long time. 12 in a row they've lost, the Colts franchise. But you got to think that he made a little impression on the Rooneys, did Mr. Noll, with that defense.
I would hope so.
First matchup ever.
That's how you get jobs in this league.
Here in
well, this guy played or coached us up against us pretty well.
Chuck Noll, you were talking about how you didn't realize what a career he had as a player before he went on to win 4 Super Bowls as a coach. He used to block for Jim Brown in Cleveland. Going that line. Terry puts the foot to it, drives it. Down to the 2. There's Russell. He's in the backfield at Minnesota with Marion Barber and Lawrence Maroney, and he's out to about the 27.
If you look at it, you can see the Pittsburgh defense is deep. The safeties go with the wide receiver inside, and that's why Dominic down the middle.
Dominic Rhodes' first touchdown reception in 5 years, just the second of his career. Thrilled to be back in Indianapolis after a year in Oakland, and there's a fast play. It's Ward. Second down and 3 with 2.5 to go. Steelers have 2 timeouts. Ball is dropped. It was behind Ward. Made so many tough catches today. We talked so many times about the Colts dilemma in the AFC South, and really in the wild card picture. Pittsburgh at 6-2 has already seen Baltimore win again today, blowing out Houston. And if they were to find a way to win this game, you see Mr. Rooney, Dan Rooney, Hall of Famer. They won this game today at 7-2. They'd have the second best record in the conference, behind Tennessee. Third down play, 3rd and 3. Got the first with Spade. Tackled by Melvin Bullen.
Tackled by Bullen. First and 10.
Hurrying to the line to get another snap, another play before the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, no use hurrying. Plenty of time. 2 minutes. 2 timeouts.
They'd like to get one play here before the 2-minute warning, and they don't get the snap in time. And Vin doesn't believe it. 2 minutes to go with Pittsburgh. Two times this season, 14 times in his career. Game-winning drives in the fourth quarter or overtime for Roethlisberger. Looking to do it again. The ball with the Steelers 44, first down. Bracket riding him down. Colts will be happy with that. Gains 5.
Yeah, it'll be the Colts the way they're going to defense. They're going to make Ben Roethlisberger take a chance and try to throw a football into a tight seam. Because if you throw 5 and 6 yarders, you will run out of time even with 2 timeouts.
Faith with his 6th catch. Goes for 5. 1:30 to play. Roethlisberger to Moore and another first down. Diving to the Colts 44. It's time that famed pass rusher the Colts get in the face of Roethlisberger, either Freeney or Mathis. It's a team that has only 4 players who have registered a sack on the whole season. First down.
A lot of time.
Flag is down. Roethlisberger incomplete, looking for Holmes.
Think about it. We had a 2-minute warning. They got a first down, and it took a minute.
Offside. Defense, number 98. Lined up in the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty.
Mathis trying to get the quick
Replay,
jump on the
first down.
quarterback, and it cost him 5 yards. But what about that play on 3rd and goal at the one by Eric Foster?
Eric Foster gets up off the ground, makes the tackle. I believe he's going to score if he's not there. You take that. The interception. So many big plays by the Colts to give them the lead so far here in this game.
Held them to 3 instead of 7. Dallas Baker in the game as a receiver for the first time today. First and 5. Pocket of seal. Pass is complete. And Holmes is out of bounds near a first. Melvin Bullitt lining him out. Looks like they spot him short. 2nd and a yard to go.
Yeah, very appropriate. Always know the situations. Santonio Holmes knows how important it is. Don't worry about 1 extra yard. Get out of bounds, and he did a good job of doing it.
Dwight Freeney steps out to the sideline for this play. Chris Howard is in instead. 2nd and a yard. Roethlisberger incomplete, and that was in the hands of Dallas Baker. We just mentioned seeing his first action today on this series.
Well, tough for Dallas Baker. Boy, Ben Roethlisberger looking to his right. The throw was perfect, but just at the last second wheels and throws it. Maybe that's why Baker dropped it, caught him off guard. But time is definitely a problem with 2 timeouts.
3rd and less than a yard to go. Gonna run for the first, and they get it with Moore. Now they take the timeout with 48 seconds, leaving them with 1.
Well, Peyton Manning against this defense has had a tremendous day. A little lucky on the first one, gets the tip. But a good throw to Dallas Clark, and then the throw to Dominic Rhodes, well designed and well executed. And 2 big interceptions by this Colts defense. Well, you see why they're leading the game 24-20.
Colts with 14 points off turnovers. They've had some nail-biters this season, haven't they? And another one developing here with 48 seconds. On first down, getting away from the heat. Pass wide of Moore, and there's a flag. Mathis was putting the pressure on Roethlisberger. Flag is down at the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Number 78 offense. 10-yard penalty. Replay.
Starts again, the replacement starter for the 4th straight week at left tackle, going against Dwight Freeney.
Yeah, on that side, got that left arm around his back. They're going to call that when you're offensive tackle or lineman, if you keep the hold inside the shoulder pads or the width of the shoulders, they'll allow you to do that. Once you wrap around, they're going to throw the flag.
1st and 20, 43 seconds. Here come the Colts, and Freeney gets to him.
Everything the Colts, how they designed this team, they're built to stop drives like this, where they can play pass, they don't have to worry about the run, they get their pass rushers in these obvious situations. Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis coming through on the last drive of the game.
And the last timeout utilized by the Steelers. It said they had to come in and make a play. They actually set Freeney down. Looked like he might have been winded. He was down on one knee on the sideline for 2 snaps and came back in. It makes the big play. 35 seconds to go, and
yeah, even without the penalty and negative plays or whatever, Jim, when you go in a situation like this, that's why I said time is such a problem there at the end, because you can't get the chunks against this defense, big yardage throws, because they're designed in a situation like this to stop those, even more than most teams in the NFL.
2nd and 27, half minute to go. Roethlisberger's pass. That's to Baker, who fights for the sideline. One thing to consider here is they're going to have to probably look at a deep ball here. And Roethlisberger, again, that arm strength right now in question with all the shoulder concern and issues.
Wow, look at those pass rushers. They are just going out. Dwight Freeney doing the spin. Robert Mathis from the other side. You're right, no question. You're in a situation as a quarterback that you have to take a chance.
Again, void of timeouts. 3rd and 21. In on Roethlisberger. They go underneath. They'll have to reset to the line quickly once more is tackled, but he's going to fight until Jennings and others stack him up and use a few more precious seconds.
You got to make sure it's the 4th down, so you got to line up and throw it in the end zone.
I just get up here and spike it real fast.
No, you can't. It's
no,
4th down.
4th down and 5. Roethlisberger looked for a minute like,
made it.
Oh, here he goes. Stepping away all kinds of time. Now here's the heave to the end zone. Washington is there, the tip twice, and the Colts come up with it. Melvin Bullock secures it, and the Colts win it.
Good job by the Steelers of getting this last play off.
I just had a flashback. That AFC Championship game, Harbaugh and those cardiac kids. And that throw to the end zone of that one. It got batted around for a while. Some 10-plus years back. Big win for the Colts here in Pittsburgh. 24-20. Jim Nantz and Phil Simms sending it to James Brown in New York.